Peace be upon you, friends. With you is your friend Darum. I ask you to support the channel by subscribing, liking, and posting motivating comments and an enjoyable viewing experience for you. The events of the battle as narrated by Dajan. Dajan told me that they went with Malas and the group with him to the gathering place of the Dunes tribe, and the plan was to get as close to Maz's place as possible and suddenly attack him with all their might. But their infiltration was revealed before they reached the point from which they wanted to attack, so they entered into a fierce battle. With the Dunes, Malas then realized that they would perish if they continued fighting with them, especially since Maza began to fortify himself by surrounding his place with fighting demons and ordered all his sons to gather around him. Malas decided to take a third of the group and go to Maza's place on a semi-suicide mission. He was one of among those chosen by Malas Ardajan, Karini, Karin ibn Salem, and Karin his sister Fatima. The suicide group chosen by Malas headed to attack the place where Maza was fortified. A bloody battle took place in which all of Maza's sons were killed except for Jasar and Jund. One of us, Fatima's companion, was killed, and Malas was seriously injured because he was pushing hard. He approached Maza, wanting to resolve the battle by killing him, but the demons around Maza were strong and were waiting for Malas. The battle continued for hours, and signs of victory began to appear with the guards falling around Maza. But things turned around when Malas and his followers were surprised by the entry of the Alabataha tribe into the battle, shouting, "Revenge, let it be known." Everyone knew that they would target Karini in the beginning, so the ranks of Malas and those with him were confused. The oppressors began to attack them in order to reach Karini, and Malas and his followers were busy repelling the attack by the Abataha and defending Karini, which caused great losses among the ranks of Malas's followers. Maza and his army took advantage of Malas and his followers' preoccupation with repelling the attack of the Abataha on Karini and the chaos that struck the battlefield to rearrange their ranks and the participation of the Abataha in the attack on Karini, who was fighting alongside Malas. After a long fight in which many fell victim, Malas was besieged, and his suicide squad. What made matters worse was that the group that Malas left to repel the Dune army behind them lost their confrontation and were all killed, which made the Dune army remaining from that confrontation change its direction towards the simple division that Malas was leading, which was, and still is, facing the Ipataja army and the Meza guards alone. As and those with him began to resist, and because their ranks were full of fellow believers, they were able to resist them for a long time, during which they overthrew many of the demons of the Islamists and the Dunes. But their abundance and aggression against them was leading them to inevitable defeat. When Malas realized this and that, the issue was a real drain on his group that would inevitably fall after a period of time, even if it was long. He decided to change his plan and called Karin bin Salem and whispered in his ear. Then Karin bin Salem quickly disappeared. Minutes after the disappearance of Karin ibn Salem, orders came from Inar, the leader of the Al-Sawarim tribe, for her tribe to break their covenant with the oppressors and enter the battle to help Malas and focus on killing Maza. The battle turned, and the Sawarim began to deliver painful blows to the army of Alabataha and the army of Maza from behind, and their soldiers were falling one after the other. After a long battle, Malas and his army and the Sawarim with him prevailed. The army of the oppressors and the entire army of Maza was annihilated, except for those who fled and escaped from the battlefield, including Jasar and Jund. The victorious squad arrested Maza and the leader of the Alabataha tribe and separated their heads from their bodies in full view of the army. Takash, the leader of the Sawarim army, and one of the sons of Shind, the former leader of the Sawarim tribe, who was killed by Mazah, came forward in Ammar's house and raised Mazah's head while he was screaming among the crowds. Then he placed Mazah's head under Malas's feet and said to him, "My sister Einar thanks you for helping us become the dominant tribe among the tribes and offers you Mazah's head in return." Here I interrupted Dajan and said to him, "What is disturbing about it? This is happy news. We have won." Dajan said, "Let me fill you in on what happened after that." I said to him, "Go ahead." Dajan explained to me how, after their overwhelming victory, the Sawarim tribe decided to return and withdraw their army. After that, Malas and his followers remained searching for the survivors, but they found only 24 followers, including Karin ibn Salam and Dajan. So I said to Dajan, "What about my horns?" He said that they expected that he had been killed in battle, especially since most of the demons of the outlaws were targeting him in the heat of the fighting, so they thought that I had died, and Ibn Salem began the burial ceremony. But he was surprised when he found me still breathing, so he left me in my place and went to prepare for the funeral. His sister, Dajan, remained silent after that. He said, "Even I was surprised when I saw you among the rows of mourners at the funeral, Fatima." I was silent for a while and then said, "What is the meaning of these words?" "Where did my kin go?" Dajan said, "Your companion has departed, and we do not know where he has gone." I said, "Yes." "Do you mean that he ran away? And why is he running away?" Dajan said, "I don't know. Don't ask me." I said angrily, "Who knows then?" During our discussion, which began to rage, Malas entered upon us, accompanied by Karin ibn Salem and others, and said, "Your companion was captured by the remaining members of the Maza tribe and the Abataha, and they are now bargaining over him." I was silent for a while. Then I said, "What do they want in return?" He said, "They want someone who killed 3 of their brothers in battle, killed Ammar, and killed the head of the Alabataha tribe himself." I turned my gaze to John, who was looking at Malas in shock. Malas said, "Make your decision before sunset. Either we hand over Dajan to them and take back your mate, or your mate will be executed at midnight." Malas and those with him left, and I and Dajan remained in silence until Dajan spoke and said, "I go to them." I said, "No, let them kill my kin." He said, "Never let go of your passion." I told him, "I will not forgive myself for that, and this is my fault, as Ammar told me, and I deserve what will happen to me." Dayan, said, "Who told you it was your fault? I am the one who got you involved with the Maza tribe, and I am the one who caused all this problem. And between you and me, I am bored and have nothing to lose." I told him, "No, I will inform Malas of my decision." But when I was about to go out to tell Malas that I was going instead of Dajan, I fell to the ground and fainted. I woke up in the evening to the sound of some talismans close to my ears. I looked and saw Ibn Salem saying to me, "Your doppelganger is back at your side now, and you have just finished attaching him to you." So I said to him as I woke up, "What about Jan?" He said to me, "Jan informed us of your agreement to surrender himself, and the matter was completed half an hour ago." So I pushed Ibn Salem and went out to run to Ammar's house, while Ibn Salem shouted behind me and said, "Where are you going?" I did not respond to him, and I kept running and running until I reached Ammar's house. I entered and opened the book on preparing the masters of the jinn and started looking through it. And suddenly, Malas appeared to me and said, "What do you think you are doing?" I said to him without taking my eyes off the book, "I will save Jen." He shouted angrily and said, "Wasn't this your agreement?" So I explained to him what happened. He closed the book in his hand and said, "The matter has been decided, so do not provoke a new war, blogger." So I said to him, "Did you kill the one who freed you and killed Salam?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said to him, "Jazar is your true rival, not Maza, who is the goal of everything you have done. However, he is still alive and will kill the person who helped you most in your battle and your revenge." Malas got angry and took the book out of my hand and said in a loud voice, "I will not allow you to do that." So I said to him, "Dine killed Ammar for your sake, and he killed many in that battle in defense of a revenge that had nothing to do with him, and now you are abandoning him so easily." He said, "This is in everyone's interest." I said, "There is no interest except yours." Malas was silent for a while, still holding the book in his hand. Then he said, "What do you want to do, blogger?" I told him, "We will use the book to capture Yassar and bring him here in chains, and bargaining for him with Jen." He said, "And if Yund does not agree to this bargain?" I told him, "We must try." Malas put the book in my hand and said, "Jassar came. Devil on the palm of a goblin." I started preparing. Jassar after Malas guided me to the talisman that does that in the book on preparing masters, and within minutes Jassar appeared tied up in Ammar's house, screaming, saying, "I will kill you, you bastard blogger, and I will kill all your family members, and I will make you regret what you did." Malas gave him a blow that knocked him unconscious and said, "What now, blogger?" I said to him, "Isn't there a talisman to bind a soldier in the book?" He said, "No." Yund has never been classified as a master. So I told him, "Go to her and bargain with her for Jassar's life in exchange for the liberation of Dajan." He said, "Okay, but I hope I don't regret helping you." I said to him, "You are helping yourself by helping me," and Malas went and disappeared. Malas was gone for more than an hour, and during this hour, Jassar woke up and said quietly while lying on the ground, "You are the stupidest blogger I have ever seen." I said to him, "Shut up, devil, and don't speak." He said, "Do you think that Malas wants to kill me? If he wanted to kill me, he would have done so since you chained me here, but he wants to kill the one who freed him and caused the death of his owner." I told him, "You are the one who freed him and caused Salam's death." Jassar laughed in a thick, loud voice and said, "You fool! Yund was the one who freed him by order of my father, and in the previous period, I was just her guard from Malas." I said to him in shock, "You are a liar and you are trying to deceive me, but you will not succeed." Jassar said, "Malas can now take his revenge on Yund, because in the battle, I was the one standing between him and her, and I was the one who injured him in the battle because he was not interested in killing my father. Rather, he was following Jund throughout the battle, and he deceived all of you to achieve his goal, his quest." I told him, "You are a liar. He could have killed Jund when she was visiting me alone.